This presentation serves as a reminder of our startup processes and procedures for the ESOL meetings that we have coming up at the beginning of the year and our WIDA screener procedures. I'm sharing my screen at this time, so you should have access and the ability to see what I'm sharing. You'll also get this PowerPoint after we have concluded this session, and feel free to send me any questions that you may have that I did not cover. So at this time, our test coordinators should have access to our access scores from FY22. And that is really going to drive which meetings we have and the next step for those English learners. A copy of the access scores need to be provided to the parents at the meetings that we will discuss in a few minutes, whether it's an exit meeting or a continuation meeting. The meetings will be held virtually, or if a parent wants to come in, they can come in. They are not long, so they're about 15 minutes long. So I will also share with you an agenda that you can use to really guide the discussion. You'll see throughout this presentation built in, there are some hyperlinks, and the hyperlinks take you directly to the documents I'll be referring to. I'm not going to click on the hyperlinks. Right here's an example of one for the invitation, but if I click on them, I'm going to have to keep toggling in and out between different screens. So to save time and in deference to time, I will not do that, but however, you will have access to the documents that I'm going to refer to. So as we begin our process, we need to make sure that we send home a copy of the invitation, which is called the notification, to the parents. You can either email it home, or if you wanted to to scan it and email it home, or you can send a copy through the student, or you can mail it home. You have to keep a copy of the letter for your records, just to show that you have notified the parent about this meeting and the expectations of them participate. These are all of the documents that we will be using throughout our different meetings. And the documents are the first bullet to inform parents in English that their child will be continuing with ESOL services. Now, who continues? Those students who did not earn a 5.0 or higher will continue and are still eligible for ESOL services. So this document, when you click on it, it provides you with all of the information that needs to be completed and what needs to be discussed at the continuation meetings. Built into this, what we did was we combined the continuation letter along with the TPC meeting form. The TPC is the Test Participation Committee. So instead of having two different documents, we combined them into one. And the purpose of the Test Participation Committee meeting and topics is to address any accommodations that may be needed. The accommodations really are for our students with 504s and our students with disabilities that will already be built into their 504 plan or their IEP. So it's important that we have a close discussion and relationship about this particular topic with our SPED teachers, because if they have accommodations, the SPED teachers need to let us know what the accommodation is on the IEP. It needs to be noted on the TPC, and it needs to be shared with the test coordinator, because the test coordinator is the one who will update the platform, the DRC platform, with the appropriate accommodations, both WIDA access administration and the milestones administration. So we have to make sure we have good communication between the SPED teacher, if it's a student with a disability, the ESOL teacher, who will be conducting these meetings, and the test coordinator, who needs the TPC information. When you get to the portion of the TPC meeting form that asks if there are accommodations, once you click no or select no, then you're done with that portion. But if you do need to select yes, you will continue on and identify what accommodations. First bullet will lead you to the English document. Second bullet will lead you to the Spanish version of this document. The third bullet and the fourth bullet is about the same document, and that is notifying parents about the meeting, the date, the time, the location. So it's basically our invitation. That's notice that should go home to the parents. If we have students that scored a 5.0, which I don't know off the top of my head that we do, at that point you will need an exit document, and please contact me and I'll provide that. I didn't want to give more documents than you needed, but if you need one because a student scored a 5.0 on the FY22 Access Administration, let me know and I'll be more than happy to send that to you. I've updated the newest version of the Student Assessment Handbook. And in this handbook, you will find the accommodations that are approved by the State Department for students who are identified as English learners. So please check that. And I also put a snippet on the TPC document. In case you don't want to go to the handbook, the TPC document outlines which accommodations are acceptable and approved for us to identify for these students. And once again, speak to the special ed teacher because he or she will know the accommodations. This is a copy of the current accommodations manual. Once again, you don't have to refer to that because I took the snippet out and put it in the TPC document. But if you want to read additional information, feel free to, you can find it in this document. This is a snippet of what you will find that identifies the accommodations for our setting, presentation, response, scheduling. And it identifies which are allowable for EL students. Parent participation law. When you click on this link, it will take you to a document that needs to be completed for every child that you have that's an ESOL student and the parents who have been invited. That form will come back to me as evidence that you have completed the task, that they've been invited, that they participated, they being the parents. The due date for this will be September 15th, 2022. The agenda for the meeting that outlines what you need to discuss has already been identified for you, just to kind of take some of the legwork out. That link will lead you to the agenda. Now, we have a screener process that needs to take place. That previous section talked about our testing and, our meeting criteria. This is going to talk about our screening criteria. Remember that if a child enrolls into our site and the parent completes a home language survey and there's a flag based on their responses that indicates to us that the child is a potential English learner, has not been identified yet, but based on the responses to the 3 questions in the home language survey, if they identify that the child might potentially be an EL student, the registrar will inform you of that information based on the home language survey. So it's important that you have close communication with your registrar as students enroll. You will then at that point determine if the child is eligible for screening. And if they are, you will need to screen them within the first 10 days of their enrollment date. And that's 10 calendar days. I've created a separate PowerPoint that teaches you how to get on the new WIDA platform. Last year, the platform changed right in the middle of us and our process because we started sooner than WIDA. WIDA's start date is September 1st. Well, we started in August. So we had completed some of us completed our screener process procedures, and then some of us had not, and the platform changed on us. So I provided some step-by-step directions that came straight from WIDA, as well as some snippets that you can use to help guide you through the new platform. And if you find that you don't have access, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to check your accessibility into the WIDA platform. But once you click on this link on this screen, it takes you to the location of the secure portal. Remember that we have to take that screener, and it needs to be done within the first 2 weeks of school. So I will send you a calendar invitation for the due date of the screener. Why do we have to take it so soon? Well, if we have a child that enrolls, they have 10 days before we have to start screening them. So we're going to do 2 weeks, five days of the week, and make sure that we have passed the screener with an 80% pass rate. You will send me a copy of your certification that you have passed with an 80%. Email it to Denise Cato. I will keep it on file for our records, for testing, and for ESOL that you've completed and then have been verified and confirmed as a practitioner who can assess students with the screener and find them eligible. Once you've completed reviewing this presentation, please click on this link and complete the form as verification that you have completed the process of listening to this training. And feel free to email me if you have any questions at all. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions for you. And like I said, you will receive 2 presentations, this presentation and a separate one that gives you step-by-step procedures for finding the screener location. An email will follow with clear expectations. Thank you so much and have a fantastic FY23.